Danny, we're here talking about the renewable energy revolution in this country. What does the public not understand in terms of its scope and its potential?
A couple of things, I think. One is that it's already begun, and globally and in the United States, more new additions to the electricity supply are clean energy systems than dirty energy systems. That's been the case for a couple of years now. So despite all the hype about gas and fracking and Saudi America and all that stuff, actually last year, 2015, there was more wind and solar than coal and oil and whatever. So that's going to just grow. And the other thing that I think the public doesn't quite get is how fast it's going to grow, because it moves on an exponential curve. It's a technology adoption curve that we've seen in other sectors like telephones. The cell phone, once it hit 10%, basically went vertical to near market saturation and flattened out near 100%. And likewise, clean energy is going through that same S-curve of adoption. We're at 2-3%, but we're doubling every couple of years in terms of penetration, how much of the market share we take. And by 2020, that may only mean we're at like 3-4%, but by 2030, that could mean we're over 50% very easily.
So California is trying to get to 50% by 2030. Is it very much the tip of the spear, or do you think the spear is going to be everywhere before too long?
Yeah, I think it's going to be everywhere, but California has historically led the charge on a lot of these things and sets the tone for the country, whether it's automobile efficiency standards or the built environment building codes. And on renewable generation, the 50% renewable portfolio standard that you referenced will be easily met, actually. It will probably be closer to 60-65% by 2030, just with what we know we're already doing. And I think maybe it'll be pushing the needle up towards 100% by then, while other states move on, because they want to capture some of the value that the vanguard economies can get out of this transition, which is jobs, wealth creation, businesses like Tesla, Solar City, Sungevity, all these great news stories that we read about. They're coming because of this, not as a cost, but as a result that's positive for that community.
So the scale up of this transformation is going to be vast, and it's going to involve billions or hundreds of billions of dollars. Are the old utilities that have been around for a while going to do it, or will there be new players, or is it going to be a mix of the above?
It's going to be a mix. I mean, the old utilities are a wide swathe of company types. Some are private and investor owned, some are publicly owned, cooperative even. So it depends on the decision making and the culture of the business, I think, as to how quickly they move with the transition. And in the US, you've had a few early leaders, but many of them are sort of dragging their feet, whereas in Europe and Australia and other countries, you're just seeing utilities decide we're going to have to move with the times in order to maintain market share and value. And that's good. It's a competitive impulse in a market which has sort of been dominated by monopoly and not had real competition for a century.
In your book, you say that solar energy may be more important than fire for the future of civilization. Why do you say that?
What I mean by that is that, fire was this evolutionary step whereby the human ape was able to fix food in nutrients by cooking it, was able to ward off predators and warm the home at night and do all sorts of other things like fire farming, as it were, changing the vegetation pattern of places. And that was an incredible tool in our evolution. I think of electricity as all that, the ability to preserve and cook food with refrigerators and microwaves and whatever's, the ability to warm the home, to light the night. All those things come from electricity too, but without burning something right at the end use, which was fire. So electricity is sort of like version 1.0 of that, 1.5 of that improvement. Solar power is not having to burn anything at all. You don't have to have a coal-fired power plant out in the hinterland burning some coal in order to send some electricity to light the cave at night. You can just do it at the point of use with solar power and a battery. And, it's not to make light of it. I think the ability to do electricity wherever we are at no input cost, no fuel except for sunlight that falls free from the sky fresh every day, is an incredible kind of abundance that our civilization, our species, has never really experienced. It's been a scarcity. We've fought for bushwood, for coal, for oil. We've paid increasing costs over time for our electricity, from the social cost of pollution to the rates we pay as electricity consumers. We're talking about the exact opposite of that. Electricity becoming more available, ubiquitously, and for almost no marginal cost.
So given that transformation, the scale, it's going to be a major civilization change. In your mind, what's the value of conferences like this?
This is the work. This is what we're doing. And the 21st century will be looked back upon as the time in which we took the turn. I mean, there's probably in the history books of my kids at school some passage that says, at some point the ape hominids that were precursors to humans came out of trees and worked out how to start fires and used it for these things. And that was whatever period of time it took to adapt and adopt that technology. This is that at the start of the 21st century. We have about 15 more years to fully implement that change if we're going to avert the worst of the problems caused by the precursor technology, coal and oil and gas, with climate change. I have confidence we can do it if we just ride the wave of renewable and this rush that you're describing here in California.
Thank you.